If you want to know where people are spending their money on Magic cards right now, we have to mention the reserve list, and that's right, it's the weekly update on the reserve list sales of all things Magic. Guys, this is starting out a brand new year, and the sales are looking phenomenal for a lot of reserve list cards. Let's take a closer look at what we're talking about. Stay tuned. Hi everyone and welcome back. MTG Moxman here, and we are starting out at number 10 this week with Taiga from Revised. Now this thing had a whole bunch of sales we need to mention. It's been on the top 10 for the last 3 weeks, and it starts out this week with 34 sales January 1st to the 7th of 2024. Guys, that's $11,000 plus in sales volumes. Now I do have to mention that in the case of a card like Taiga and any dual lands, the actual variety being bought is pretty wide, and you're seeing things from damaged to heavily played. So although we're seeing 34 sales that I could capture, there may be more that are out of my reach, and some of these things at local card shops which I can't actually factor in. But there are some amazing sales going on with this card, and it just shows that although players may not have faith in a lot of Wizards' new moves, when it comes to reserve list shopping and where players are parking money and enjoying their cards, the reserve list is definitely what we're talking about. So now let's take a look at the number 9 card. Kind of a surprise to see it popping back up. This is Zirlin of the Claw from Mirage. Now I did see a whole bunch of Dragon sales this week as well, and although they didn't make the top 10, it's worth mentioning in this video to let you guys know that of course this will get paired into any kind of Dragon deck you're building for a commander. Now 36 sales this week, or $341. This is a far cry from the $40 plus mark it held briefly in 2022 midway through the year, and it's had a steady decline ever since. But considering this card came from the $5 level and it's still hanging in there around the $8-9 level, it's still almost doubled its value in the last 4 years. And even though it's dropping in price because of the resurgence of a whole bunch of dragons in Magic and the Dragon Commander decks players like to build nowadays, this card seems to have always found a home, and it seems to be maintaining a fairly steady volume and value. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our number 8 card this week. And again, a bit of a surprise coming back on the list. This is Earthcraft from Tempest. Now this card comes in at $104 and some change, and you can see it's been as high as around the $200 mark, and it had 39 sales this week as an easy to cast enchantment. And with the prevalence of all the amazing token creatures we get now, you can do a lot of tapping, untapping with this stuff. It's kind of crazy. Also guys, at this point in the video, just a reminder that if you're buying any of these cards on TCG Player, don't forget to use my TCG Player affiliate link. It is found in the description of all my videos. If you click that link, it takes you to TCG Player for your shopping experience, and anything you buy there gets keyed back to the channel here. It really helps me get new cards for the channel. I appreciate everyone who takes a moment to do that whenever they're shopping. So thanks again, guys, for thinking of me and thinking of this channel when you're shopping on TCG Player. Now, don't forget with this card as we round it out, again, the sales for this card are everything from damaged to near mint. There's a wide variety for Earthcraft, okay? Now let's drop down and take a look at the number 7 card. And this one should not come as a surprise, and let me explain. This is Yavimaya Hollow. It taps for colorless mana, but also regenerates creatures. Now, at $61.28 as the average and 45 sales, you think the $2,700 plus is a lot of money, but really considering this card's been $150, it's less than half the price it used to be. And not only that, when we're thinking about Bloomburrow and stuff coming up and all these new creatures we're expecting to get, squirrel decks, all the like, a lot of green decks like to have this card inside. Regeneration is still that thorn in the side of most players who never expect this card. So when it says destroy and stuff, you got to keep this card in mind. This thing is kind of crazy. That, and I guess there's Swarm Yard for all the other regenerate. It's some pretty crazy cards out there, guys. Swarm Yard, of course, is not reserve list, but it also kind of needs a reprint again, doesn't it? Either way, Yavimaya Hollow is definitely on the list, and you got to keep this card in mind because you can find heavily played copies for like $30-something. Crazy prices. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our next card, and this one's coming to us from Urza's Destiny, and this is Academy Rector. Now, this card's been going down in value for a while, and with enchantments getting more and more popular, it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone that this card kind of sees a steady volume. And 48 sales this week, and the fact you can find this thing on the market for like 40-something dollars on TCG Player, and $2,800 in sales overall, considering this thing used to be like $150 to $170 US. Crazy savings on a card like this. I mean, it's so underrated only because of the amount of enchantments we get. And when you pair that in with old school enchantments and enchant worlds, this thing is just a monster of a card that can easily be snuck onto the battlefield and killed off quickly to get exactly what you're looking for. Now, our next card comes to us from Weatherlight. This is Abeyance. It's an old school card, a lot of fun, because for one white and one generic, it says, until end of turn, target player cannot play instants, interrupts, sorceries, or abilities requiring an activation cost, and then draw a card. So you can kind of slow players down a lot of their ability and what they like to do in their game. And also, when you pair these things with like Orm's Chant, or you get like the Isochron Scepter going, you can have a lot of fun with this thing. It can get really insane. Now, 61 sales this week, but it's averaging $10 a card, so it only has like $610 in total sales volumes. But this card, again, has been kind of steady. It's been picking up from that 10, 20 sales all the way now up to 60 something. It kind of tells you there's some crazy stuff going on right now that I think is just worth mentioning in today's video. Now, let's go ahead and take a look, guys, because the next card's going to kind of blow your mind. I'm surprised to see it here again coming to us from Revised, but it made it, so here we are talking about, that's right guys, it's back again, Copy Artifact Revised Edition. Now, this card, of course, being able to copy all these amazing artifacts out there is one thing. But of course, Commander players kind of need a one-of. Vintage Legacy decks still like to use this card, so it still sees quite a few sales. And it's one of those cards that, yes, it's been off its highs for sure, but it never went back to that $5 to $10 level. This card finally got recognized for the greatness it is, so it actually has a sticker price that kind of sticks around this level, and it's been this way for about a year. So don't expect too much further for this card to fall. It might hit the mid $35 range, but all it would take is a moderate level buyout to push it back up. And there is desirability for the card. Players do buy it regularly, so it's a card to keep in mind. If you don't have one and you're hoping for a price break, don't expect anything crazy going on with this card. The market does keep it at a kind of equilibrium price right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at our next card. And number 3 this week has been on the list for a while. That's Vision's Triangle of War. Now, as a one generic artifact, I'm surprised by the sheer volume of sales this week. It's still 73 copies sold, which means overall in the last week, a 47-cent increase is still somewhere around the 30 to 35% overall increase in the last couple of weeks. It saw a bit of a jump, because you can see here the average price now is $3.36. It's still way off the $15 high, but players are buying the card because it does fit into any deck, and there's ways of bringing the card back and forcing certain creatures to fight other certain creatures, which eliminates a problem you may have to deal with. I like the card myself just because it's so cheap to get out, and it's cheaper than using the generic spells that offer those same types of abilities. So I like it. It fits into every deck. It makes sense why people are buying it. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the number 2 card this week, and it's Scrubland from Revised. Now this card, again, it's had a lot of sales in the last little while, Boxing Day, Christmas, but 75 sales this week represents still $24,225 in sales for the number 2 card. That's a lot of business for a lot of these dual lands to be moving, as you saw with Taiga. I mean, Underground Sea almost made the list, Tropical did. They're not on here today, but they were close enough that I'm going to mention that basically every dual land is selling really well, and it just shows where players are putting their money. They don't like Ravnica Remastered. They don't like the idea of Karlov Manor yet. We don't know how they're going to feel later on with the spoilers, but right now, the advanced spoilers are not trending well with any player who has that kind of banking buck. They're like, forget it. I'm going to stick my money in some dual lands I've always wanted to get, and I can finally say I own them. And that's where we see the business. But now we're going to jump to number 1. And this is something I'm not surprised by. Here we have Wheel of Fortune Revised Edition, guys. This card has been trending down in value. But at number 1 and 91 sales, it has $26,300 plus in sales volume. Now these cards, again, like I told you guys earlier in the video, we are looking at cards that range the spectrum of condition from heavily played to near mint to actually, although it's not counted on this list, unlimited and some beta have sold. When you can get unlimited for around $500+ Canadian, that gets a lot of people looking that way for an unlimited just because of a little more style factor. When you double that over again for a beta, you can see where players are kind of like, why just not go all the way? And of course, with this card, you'll need to buy one, and you're going to hold on to it forever, and that's where players are sinking their feet in and just saying, you know what? This is where I'm going to spend my money. When you see those sales volumes, what does it say to you? Because in my opinion, looking at those volumes at this time of year, just like the Saturday edition, much higher sales volumes. A lot of standard cards selling. Today's video, we have all kinds of cards that across the spectrum of the reserve list. Cheaper ones and more expensive ones. Why are people deciding now to buy a Scrubland? To buy a Wheel of Fortune? Why are they buying a copy artifact? What is making players seek out cards on the reserve list? Is it a speculator hoping to corner the market? Maybe. Is it new players finally being able to say, I don't want a new product, I want to get that Wheel of Fortune. I want to get that Scrubland or a Savannah, Underground Sea, or a couple other cards that didn't make the list. Maybe it's a player out there just buying old school, non-reserve list cards, Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, Collector Edition, whatever your fancy is. Why are players choosing at this time in MTG Finance, when historically sales are really low? Why are they spending the money now? It says volumes to me about the decisions that Wizards of the Coast has made and how it affects the player base. Not everyone, obviously, but it is affecting how people decide to spend their money. And that is something that Wizards of the Coast and their economic team are going to have to reconcile with players at some point. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video today. Thank you for stopping by the channel. And of course, if you're new to the channel, if you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Looking forward to seeing your comments in the comments section. Hopefully you can make my live stream tonight, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time is when I think we're going to be on. We should be on time. If you made it this far in the video, you know it's kind of a bit of a gamble today because it is the 20K party video. I got to make sure I put everything together properly. I hope I can get it all done. If not, we'll talk about that when it happens, okay? Thanks again, guys. Have an awesome day today. I'll see you soon. It's a shout out. It's a thank you because the patrons of this channel, my YouTube membership members, the patrons, you guys make this content possible each and every day. Guys, thanks again for being supporters. Thank you, everyone. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. If you're here right now, I want you to know, it is like 4 in the morning. That's right, guys. It took a long time to count the numbers. There were so many cards competing and getting so close, I had to take some extra time. I'm on a lot of coffee right now, which I don't have a cup here with me right now, but I'm jacked up, man. And I loved seeing the sales. You know, we're sitting here, we talk in the Ramble Jamble, just meaningless stuff sometimes, but these sales to me tell a story. And the story is not in favor of what Wizards of the Coast has been doing right now. If you look year over year on sales volumes of what we see, if you went back a year and look at my videos, you'd be surprised to find some of the sales volumes a year ago. There's a few good ones, of course, but overall much lower. And here we are at the end of the year, into this new year, and the sales are still strong. This is kind of serious stuff. But not only that, it's my birthday today. Right now it's 11:15 probably when I put this video out, because I always put it at the same time. And you guys right now at the end, putting a boomstick in the comment section, maybe saying a happy birthday to the Mox Man, however it may be, decide to celebrate with me. I hope you do. I hope you get to come to the live stream tonight and kick back, chill out with me, do whatever you like, because it's going to be a good time. I just feel like I deserve to relax. This is the one day. You guys know that, right? I never work on my birthday. I don't care what happens. I don't do anything. I do whatever I want to do. It's the one day. It's because my parents never gave me a birthday party as a kid, and now everyone else has to suffer the consequences. All right, guys. See you soon.